This is the new 2026 Citroen C3 Aircross, one of the best cheap new cars you can buy in my opinion, and there are a lot of them out there now, but this one starts from just over £20,000 here in the UK, and even a top spec electric one is just north of 25, and that represents really good value for a car that not only innovates in the suspension space to make this a really comfortable low-end car, but also in the interior practicality segment as well. So please join me on a full interior and exterior tour of the car. I'm going to show you why this, I think, is one of the strongest cheaper buys that you can get for a new car right now, and I'll get it out on the road and show you what I think. But before we do that, if you're looking to purchase a used car, I've got links below to make it super easy, or if you're selling too. But our sponsor Vehicle Score will make sure that you don't end up with a car that's got a hidden shady past. Vehicle Score is a super easy to use app and website that will consolidate all the information that you might need in one place to see what you need to know about this used car. Make sure that the MOT history looks good, make sure that the mileage history looks good, and what's more, if you pay for one of their full checks, you can see whether the car has ever been scrapped, stolen, written off, or any of that weird hidden stuff that you don't want when putting a lot of money down. It will even show up things like crash history and number plate changes, so you know that if something's a little bit awry, you're going to find out about it. And what's more, if you want a nice little discount, use my code below, danlat10, with my affiliate link, and that will help the channel out as well. And this is the sort of stuff that's super important to know before you end up buying a used car. So what are you waiting for? If you're looking to buy or sell, all of my affiliate links in the description below. So then, the C3 Aircross, actually really reasonably priced here in the UK for the size and the spec. So they start from around £21,000, but I have seen them as low as £19,000 for the absolute base model, and that's the collection trim. And actually that includes a pretty decent spec of standard, including a 10.25-inch touchscreen with wireless Apple CarPlay and Android Auto climate control, rear camera and parking sensors, adaptive cruise. Then there is the max version, which starts at around £25,000. That adds these diamond cut alloys, heated windscreen, heated steering wheel, blind spot monitors, front parking sensors, wireless phone charging, and there's not really any option packs either, so it makes it nice and easy to choose. They all come with a standard 3-year manufacturing warranty, but you can extend that up to 8 years if you take it regularly back to Citroen for service. As for drivetrains, you do have a few options, and they are tied to trims. So the entry-level car you can only get with a 100 horsepower 1.2 litre turbo petrol, 0 to 60 in around 12.5 seconds, and that one I would probably avoid because there's not much more money to go to the hybrid, and the hybrid is a much better experience all round. The one I have here is the 1.2 hybrid. It's a 3-cylinder, 145 horsepower with an electronically assisted 6-speed auto, 9.1 seconds to 60, and around 50 mpg claimed, which is slightly better than the 47 mpg that the standard petrol gets. In my experience though, driving this how I normally drive it, I've been achieving around 40 mpg. So it's not quite as efficient as some key rivals from, say, MG, such as the MG ZS Hybrid Plus. That one is more of a full hybrid, whereas this is more of a mild hybrid. So the full hybrids tend to be a little bit smoother because they have a larger electric motor, so more electric shove around town, and also they tend to be better on fuel as well. I averaged around 55 mpg in the MG. That being said though, even though this is classed as a mild hybrid, it will still do up to 50% of the round town driving on electric. There is also a full EV model, so there's a 44 kilowatt hour model with 113 horsepower and about 180 miles of range, and then there's a 54 kilowatt hour model which is a claimed 240 miles of range. The electric one starts from only a couple of £100 more than the standard hybrid, so actually represents pretty good value. There is also a 7-seat option available as well. The only rival I would really consider like for like almost is the Dacia Duster hybrid. That's very similar underneath, so I would say that might be one to look at as well. Quite similar pricing too. This one I have here is finished in Montana green metallic, which is a £645 option, and it has a white roof, as you can see as well. So let's take a little look around it then. It's quite a boxy car. It's one of these cars that's kind of got a bit of a van-like shape to it in a way, which some people will like. Some people will find this quite a nice aggressive stance on the road, and also it's quite a sort of easy car to maneuver and park because of its boxy shape. This front end is very new style Citroen, so you have the new Citroen badge up there, which is all very nice, isn't it? And then you've also got this kind of slatted grille, you've got some grille vents down there, and you've also got your radars and systems built into the front end as well. On this one you do have these kind of copper accents, and these can actually be customized. You can swap out these trim pieces and purchase them separately from Citroen. Utilitarian, quite kind of rugged looking. You can tell that by the slightly raised ride height, which is going to be quite practical for some people. You've also got this nice pattern on the kind of arch area here. And these wheels aren't too bad in terms of maintenance because you've got nice chunky tyres on there, nothing too low profile. This diamond cut finish is nice on this higher end trim, but yeah, they're not too big, so it means it doesn't really sacrifice the ride. And there are some really good suspension refinements on this, which we'll go into in a little while, but there is hydraulic bump stops that make it a really plush ride. This is one of the most comfortable cars in the cheaper segment, I would say, by a long shot. There's also some nice details here. You can see that there's a little Citroen logo, a little badge just built into those side vents. You've also got these LED headlights, which are fairly straightforward. There's nothing too fancy about the design. You can see the running lights here as well, which have indicators built in. And as we head down the side of the car, once again, you can see it's quite a boxy shape, isn't it? It's got quite a squared off back, which is helpful for rear cargo and passenger areas. And as we head around the back, the higher end model, the Max, has these LED sort of diffused rear lights, which I'd say are worth the upgrade. They do make it look a lot more premium. The standard one just has halogens back here, which don't look as good. And then the kind of theme continues along the back. You've got a nice massive Citroen badge here to kind of really show what the car is. And then you've also got the Aircross and C3 badges as well. On this one I do have a tow bar fitted, but you can see some quite bold lines down the side of the car. Those kind of flared front arches, like the fender area, and back here as well. And also you've got your fuel flap here. I think definitely the kind of the roof area, the contrast helps as well. You've got a bit of a lip spoiler back here, and then you can see we've got the Citroen badge on these kind of roof rail areas up the top. So there's a few design choices. You've also got those trims here as well, once again customizable. Don't know whether everyone's going to love the design of this, but I do think it does look quite modern, especially compared to previous generation Citroens, and obviously the shape of it is going to make it quite practical. So yeah, let me know what you think about the styling. I'm kind of on the fence, but I don't hate it at all. It's certainly interesting. I like the customization. I like the fact that it's two-tone, and I like the new kind of Citroen design philosophy. They're definitely heading in the right direction. So heading inside the C3, it does have just a normal key. There's no keyless entry on this one. Yeah, I would prefer if it had the proper like push button ignition. It does in some of the models, but in this hybrid one I just have a standard key, which is throwing me a little bit. Some people will love that, but I do prefer push button start in modern cars. But obviously they're cutting corners somewhere to make this the price that it is, which is fair enough. And that kind of brings me on to this door. This feels a little bit cheap and nasty, and it sounds that way as well. But thankfully, that's where the cheap and nasty ends, because this interior, I think, for the price, is really, really good. So you can see it's quite a large, spacious, open area. And as we head inside, you can see there's no great massive cubby holes or anything like that, but it's just a comfortable place to sit and spend time. We'll start with the door card, which is pretty much just scratchy plastic, but it doesn't feel too cheap or hollow. It feels quite solid, and you've got a nice bit of brush trim along here just to make it look a little bit more fancy. And there is a slightly padded area on the door here in this contrasting white pleather with this stitching along it. So you can see it's a little bit grubby already, which is a downside, but I do like it. I like the contrast. And you've got these little tags throughout the car as well, which are seamlessly stitched on. This one says, "Have fun." That's a good command. So we'll have a look at the other ones. There's a different one on each door, which is quite interesting. And I also quite like that this sort of door cubby area has got the contrast plastic in as well. That's quite nice, isn't it? It can fit a bottle, although it's a weird shape and there's not really a stop in there. So you can see it does slide about in there, but it is big enough to accommodate that, which is what's important to me. There are a few bits in here that I don't like so much, like these kind of sticky out vents, bit of a weird design choice in my opinion. And there's a bit of piano black, which is a little bit annoying, but you know, it's a really small complaint. These seats I love. There is a little bit of adjustment. There's manual height adjustment on the pump there, and obviously you can slide it forward and back, but loads and loads of room for me at 6 foot. This is a cavernous interior, one of the best for interior space and its class in my opinion. I really, really do enjoy it, and you'll see that as we head into the back as well. And once again, I like this kind of pleather white material. It's like a cream off-white beigey colour, and you've got contrast stitching everywhere, and you've even got this nice plush kind of ribbed area here, which it actually is really nice and supportive in the right places. It's plush enough, but also firm enough to support you where you need it as well. It's really nice. And the headrests are a little bit Volvo, aren't they? They look a bit like the older Volvo ones, which I think is quite cool. Shows they're kind of going with a bit of that design and also those ergonomics as well. And as we head inside, I'll shut the door so that we can get a proper look at everything, and you'll see that actually it's quite an ergonomic layout as well. What they've done is they've gone with 2 displays, a central one for your infotainment and a sort of a head-up display style one up here, which I think works really well. So let's put the key in and fire up the car, and I'll show you what I mean. So I'll turn it all the way, the car will fire into life, and you'll see the displays come on. So you can see that one start up, and this one will give me a startup animation as well. Now this one in the middle here isn't the best display, right? It does support wireless CarPlay and Android Auto as standard across the range, which I think is really important. It's fairly useful, right? And it's got this kind of slightly matte anti-glare finish, which does work okay, right? As you can see, it's a little bit slow to start. It's a little bit washed out. The colors aren't great. Obviously you can see now my Apple CarPlay is instantly loaded, so it works and it's practical, right? But it's just not the nicest screen. I've got the brightness up to full as well, and there is a night brightness option. And yeah, there's not an awful lot you can do on here. You can go in and you can adjust like your EQ and stuff, which is good. It's nice that it has that option, and it's fairly responsive. I also like the fact that you've always got some shortcut buttons available on the screen. And one thing I do like, which is a really small touch that I picked up on, this sort of gloss bar here down the bottom, it serves no function, but it's a ledge. And so if I'm driving and I really need to touch something on screen, I can rest my thumb on that ledge, and it just gives my hand the stability I need to tap where I need to tap, rather than kind of washing around like this. And the car does move around quite a bit because of that soft suspension, so that is a nice touch. But yeah, this screen looks a little bit naff and washed out. Apart from that, this interior is really nice quality for the price, and I mean really nice. Like, everything of course is fairly low grade plastic, and you do have the dreaded gloss black down here, which is a little bit annoying, but everything is super solid and well built. There's no creaks or rattles. I like this kind of fabric area that runs along the top of the dash here. You've also got a USB-C over here for charging, and another little shelved area up the top there alongside your vents, and it just feels really nice. You've also got a little bit of ambient lighting in the corners, which is cool, and then a glove box. Unfortunately, this is a not a full-size glove box because it's a right-hand drive model, so the fuse box is over there. You only get the full-size glove box if it's left-hand drive. What is cool though is the iconic since 1919 engraving here, so it shows some of the key history of Citroen. So you can see a 2CV on there, you can see the AMI and various other vehicles as well. It's a cool little bit of history baked into the car, which I quite like. Gives it a bit of personality. Oh, you'll notice as well over this side you've got "Be Cool," and the theme continues in the back, but I'm going to keep you in suspense for those ones. It's a very simple screen, and it's in a really super useful location because it's always in your eye line, and you've just got very practical information on there, nothing too crazy. I can cycle through the options using the button on the end of the windscreen washer here. So that literally will just show me a few different things, such as the current economy, also how much range I have left. This is in theory up to 500 miles of range on the petrol hybrid model. Also, it shows your current charge status and what the hybrid's doing. As you can see, it's just kind of in your eye line all the time. Again, excuse the flicker, but it's just, I think, in quite a useful place, and it's nice and big and bold, the information. One of the key things on this car, which I think Citroen should be super praised for, is the ease of use turning off the bings bongs assistant stuff. There is one button down here, one button. It's a physical hardware button. You press and hold this for a few seconds, 3 seconds I think it is, and you'll get a little tiny flashing warning light on the dash. You might be able to see it over there, and then all of the speed warnings turn off. That's it, but the traffic signs will still display on the screen. Fantastic. Citroen have done such a great job with that, because normally you have to go through all the menus in here. It's horrible to use. In this, it's really not. It's absolutely fantastic. I really praise Citroen for that. I'm so glad it's there. I'm glad they've also got a lane keep assist off button there. Really practical, really nice. So well done, Citroen. This new Citroen badge on here, this is a bit of a weird steering wheel, isn't it? It's like a squoval. It's a squoval shape, and it's got physical buttons on it, thankfully. So you've got some basic hardware controls on here for your cruise control, and then on the other side you've got for your track skip and volume and voice control and so on. It's quite a nice wheel to use actually, because it's small, it's direct, it's light, and actually the shape doesn't bother me because it's nice and maneuverable. And you do have some slightly weird things being a French car, so the indicator stalk here feels really nice. It's really well damped and stuff. To turn the full beam on, you have to pull it all the way forward, and then you do it again, which is a bit awkward. There's also this random bit here which looks like it should be a vent, but it isn't. It's just a design element, slightly odd. But down here, physical climate controls, whoopee. So you've actually even got a full heated windscreen in this one, and it is a real heated windscreen as well. I don't know if you can see, probably not on camera, but there is actually a heating element in the screen, which is fantastic. You've got your heated seat buttons down here, toggles for the temperature and so on. It works really well. Down here you've got an area for wireless phone charging with a Citroen badge on it, and it's really really nicely rubberized, so my phone fits in there nice and easy, happy days. And then you've got some cup holders there as well, which are nice and practical. They've also got rubber inserts in, and then you've got your gear select here, which is okay. It's down for drive, up for reverse. If I put it into reverse, you'll see we do have a pretty naff reverse camera. It's nice that it's there though. It's just a shame that there's no like 360 top down cam like in lots of other cheap cars now. So park button, and also a low range as well for certain driving situations. I haven't found myself using that really. The standard mode works well. This lip here sometimes digs into my leg if I'm stretching right out, but not the end of the world. Down here, just a little practical area, USB-C, little storage cubby and your parking brake, and then a little center console area. Again, just a small space with a little armrest on, which does slide forward, which means that you do have a little bit of extra driving comfort too. So yeah, honestly, nothing crazy in here, but it is just cavernous. It's big. Up here as well, we've got some slightly wonky mirrors, which is a little bit odd, but they don't feel too cheap, which is good. This area feels a little bit cheap and nasty, bit of flex in it and kind of some nasty buttons and stuff. But again, it just gets the job done, and it's done in such a way where the corners have been cut in places you don't care about. Even this mirror is super solid, unlike in other cheap cars where it rattles around. I also like this little flight deck of information here. You've got like your airbag warnings and so on up there, which is really decent. So it's just a fairly ergonomic, fairly nice to live with cabin. I've got no major complaints about it, to be honest. I think it's really well designed, and although it's not the prettiest, I think the contrast in the kind of the leather and also just the amount of space I've got in here, even in this driving position at 6 foot, I feel super comfortable, and it's not a big car. So really well done, Citroen. I think this design is really good. Stepping into the back of the C3 Aircross, actually you'll find, look at how wide these rear doors open as well. This is super practical, isn't it? Because it means that loading things, children and baby seats and so on, is going to be easier to access as well. And actually the rear doors, not too bad in terms of space. This is quite a narrow area in here, but you could still fit a small bottle in there. Be happy on this one. See, you're wondering what the next one says now, aren't you? And as you can see, actually it's really a nice place once again. You've got these same kind of headrests which have a lot of height adjustment. There is no crazy adjustment back here. It's a 60-40 split, and there's no kind of tilt or there's no slide or anything like that. So there are some cars that do that a little bit better in terms of practicality, but this is super comfortable back here thanks to this nice seat design, which is continued from the front with this nice kind of plush insert here. You can see how squidgy it is in this kind of seat section. You've got little zips for your Isofix covers, which I don't love, but it means that it does mean that you can kind of tuck them away. It's just foam in there, so it doesn't really matter if it gets too damaged in there, and you can cover them up. At least there's no plastic covers to lose, right? So it is going to be quite practical, and because this is a nice flat base here, it's going to be quite easy to load those seats in and out. And then there is a transmission hump, and this is another quality aspect of the car. You can see the carpet's gone a little bit skewiff down here. I don't know quite what's happened there, but yeah, for a brand new car, that's not great, is it? But I'm sure they'll probably sort that out. And then you've got 2 USB-Cs and also your standard cigarette socket there, and loads of leg room. You've got a nice pocket on the back of the seat, and you've even got here, as you can see, like a mobile phone pocket, or I guess you could, I don't know, there's all sorts of bits you can put in there really, but yeah, it's ideal for a phone really, isn't it? Just slot it in there, and you've got it on the passenger side as well. It is just a nice practical space yet again, so you've got loads of headroom. It's quite easy to see out. You've even got little side windows there, and you've got some lighting back here. Nothing crazy, because obviously this again is a slightly cheaper car, but it's just really spacious and really comfortable. I'm really impressed. Oh, and you've been wanting to know, haven't you? This one says feel good. So stepping into the back of the C3 Aircross, and this is where things are really impressive. Obviously we have a transmission hump in here, being the standard hybrid model, but as I close the door, you can see at my driving position, I'm 6 foot, and I've got loads of room in front of myself. I can even have my legs completely rested on this seat because of the nice incline, and it's got this same kind of cushioned material back here as well in this lounge, as they call it. It's a shame there's no center area for like cup holders or like an armrest or something like that, but I can rest my arm up here. I've got a good view out, and I've got quite a bit of headroom as well, to be fair. Like even taller folk are going to be absolutely fine back here, and like I said, I've got loads of room for my feet. I can really stretch out even under the seat in front of me. The seat is quite high off the floor, so I feel like I can even move my legs around a little bit without catching my feet on anything. It's really truly impressive for this wheelbase of car. It's super spacious back here, and yes, it's not quite as roomy as some rivals, but I think this is all you're going to need in most instances. I wouldn't really recommend a middle adult passenger though, because obviously you've got the kind of the footwell to contend with, which isn't going to be the best, and also it's just a little bit impractical, isn't it? Like it's a bit of a narrow car for that, but even for longer journeys I would say absolutely fine for 2 adult rear passengers, even slightly larger ones. There are obviously rivals though that have a little bit more adjustability back here. There are some rivals that will do like recline on the seats and you can slide them forward and back and stuff like that. This doesn't really have any of that, but the fact that there are some practicalities and it's just a nice place to spend some time, I actually think it's a really good place. So as for the rear cargo area, there's no automatic tailgate or anything like that, but you don't expect there to be at this price point, and it is enough out the way that I can stand up here, which is always nice. You've got a few little practicalities back here which I'll go into in a sec, but I just wanted to highlight the parcel shelf. It does fold in half. It's not the most practical to store away. Once it's unhooked, it is quite easy to just give it a tap and pull it out, but it is a little bit awkward in its shape to actually get completely free. Once you've wrestled with it a little bit, you can just completely remove it. It's not going to be the best to store it underneath here though. It's a little bit too awkward of a shape to store under the floor practically, although it definitely can be done, but I would probably just take this out and leave it somewhere if you're going to do so. As you'll see, this is a super practical, flat, wide load area with no load lip at all, which means that it is super easy to load in and out of. And this is an adjustable floor as well, so you can set it right down and get this additional space if you'd like to. But having it at this level means that it's easy to load, and also you can flatten these seats for a really nice layout. You've got a 60-40 split here, and it's a shame there is no kind of middle pass-through or anything like that, but I'm not expecting miracles in this price bracket. You've also got some quite deep wells in the sides there, so you've got one there, one over there, which has a tire inflation kit, and you've also got a few little hooks. Nothing special, nothing crazy, but gets the job done. And like I say, you've got a nice big practical space under there as well, should you need it. I do like this configuration though, the way that it's completely flat, it just makes it really easy to load, and it's quite high up as well, so it means that yes, there is a bit more to lift, but it's going to be super easy to get things in there, and also the boot kind of tapers in that way, which is helpful. So if I lean in, I can pull on these tabs to throw these seats down, and you'll see that's nice and easy too, and they do fold completely flat with the floor in this configuration, making it a completely cavernous area. This is absolutely monstrous in space for this sort of size and price of car. This is just really practical in terms of the actual amount of stuff you're going to be able to get in here, especially because of the height of it. Just look at that opening, super handy. And if I head round to the side, you'll see that actually the seats do fold pretty flat as well. Some have like a really high slope on them, these don't, and they're even still very far clear of the seats there. So even if these headrests were up, they wouldn't really snag, which is a benefit because many cars have too much of a narrow space here and they're constantly hitting the seats in front, whereas these you can just chuck them down, be done with it. And then when you actually go to put the seat back up, yes, it is a little bit heavy, but you can just slap it into place. The only downside is the seat belts aren't on runners, so they will catch if you're trying to do it one-handed. Slightly annoying, but a very small oversight indeed. It is a shame though there's no kind of like tilt on these seats or anything like that, but you know, for the amount of practicality and the amount of room that you've got in here in this class, I'm really impressed with the space. So top marks for practicality then. Let's get this thing out on the road and see what it's like to drive. Okay, so setting off in the C3, I'm flooring it here, and this is when the engine kicks in and does feel a little bit strained, but that's the only time really that 3-cylinder engine feels strained, because pottering around town, it's got loads of torque from the electric and it just doesn't really get the revs very high at all. The revs stay super low in those situations. The main thing I will tell you though about this car is this suspension setup is amazing. If I was to close my eyes and just imagine what sort of car I was driving, I would say that I was driving a German executive saloon. It doesn't feel like a cheap car at all. It just makes all the other cheap cars feel like you're riding a skateboard. This is just so soft and plush thanks to those hydraulic bump stops. It just makes such a difference. And it's great to see Citroen innovating in the lower end of the market, because at the end of the day, a lot of people who want a car like this just want something comfortable and easy to live with. And that brings me on to another key point. This is just a car. And what I mean by that is there's no like drive mode select switches everywhere. You know, I can't put it into like a sport mode. There's no manual paddles for the gears on the steering wheel. It's just get in, put it in drive and go. There's not lots of messing about and customization. The only real buttons that I have are the climate controls and the button to turn off all the bings and bongs. And that's exactly what people want. And that's what really Citroen's done here, is they've created that recipe of, it's just a car that has the features that people want if they're not interested in driving. This car isn't going to be the most dynamic on the road, let's be honest, because it's made to be comfortable. It's made to be a plush setup, and that it is. But that means that it does fall apart, unfortunately, a little bit in the corners. But I don't really think that's too much of an issue, because for the target market, they're not going to care about that. The driving position is really good actually. I can rest my elbows, even at 6 foot, I can sink back into this seat. Those little ridges in the seat just take the pressure points out of my back as well. It just feels really plush and nice, but supportive enough. And then, yeah, the tilt and telescope on the steering wheel as well. It's not quite as much telescope as I would like. I would like the wheel slightly closer to me. There is a little bit of noise in this cabin, mainly from the windows really, because these aren't laminated. And if you're going at higher speeds, you can hear them quite a bit, but there's not much road noise through the sort of the chassis. There's no creaks and rattles in here at all, and even like the wipers are quiet. Everything feels like it's quite nice quality. I'm just super impressed with it overall for this price point. Even the indicator stalks, it all feels quite premium. Nothing really to complain about in here. As I go around this roundabout, it is starting to become the Leaning Tower of Citroen. And there we go. But do you know what? It's comfy and it glides over lots of road imperfections. Big potholes, it still does crash a little bit, but in general, it feels super, super smooth. You know, if you're looking for a car for someone elderly or someone who's got, you know, starting out a family and they just want something that's comfy and feels safe and robust, this is going to be a super great option for that. So pottering around town now, and what you do find is that there is a little bit of hesitation from the gearbox in this hybrid model, but nothing too crazy. The hybrid system is pretty good, and when you're going around town, you will notice the D that indicates you're in drive will turn blue when you're running in electric mode only, and at low speeds that is the case quite a bit of the time. What I do find as well is there's quite a bit of low end torque, and it stays the revs really low, like keeps them really low, which is nice because it feels like the engine's never under too much strain thanks to the electric assistance. It is super maneuverable as well thanks to the squoval steering wheel. So if I go for a bit of a turn around here and I just whack it into here, really, really not bad at all. Quite easy to use that little gear selector, and yes, the steering wheel is a slightly odd shape, but you know, it's quite a maneuverable car, and it's quite squared off in the corners as well, so I've got quite a commanding view. And the view out the back, even though there's a large C-pillar, there is a tiny little window there, and of course you've got the rear cams. Nice sized door mirrors as well, with the blind spot monitors on the higher end model. I would definitely recommend the higher model because it's only a couple of grand more, and obviously with discounts it's probably not going to work out that much different. I think it's probably the sweet spot in the range. But yeah, low down grunt, it means that you're always away in a situation, and it's never screaming at you like some other 3-cylinder cars. It's only when you really put your foot down for motorway driving that you notice that. One other slightly cheap downside is, as it's quite heavily raining here, I can hear it towards the back of the car. I can hear the rain on the roof quite a bit, like a tinny sound. So I think it's just not got quite as much insulation and padding in that area. But up here, to be fair, it's all right. Like I said before, like hard cornering, country road driving, that kind of thing, that's where this is going to fall apart ever so slightly. It's not a dynamic car. It's not going to be one that you buy to have fun in, really, even though it does say have fun down here. But the point is that it's more of a comfortable car. It's good for that day-to-day cruising around, and motorway driving is quite nice in it as well, because it's got quite a tight centre zone, so it's not drifting around. The cruise control works well enough, and these seats are absolutely sublime for longer journeys. Brakes are not too bad either. They're quite abrupt at times. They've not got that spongy feel that you'd expect from like a hybrid system, which is nice. What I will say is that they can be a little bit grabby if you come to a complete abrupt stop, and I think that's somewhat the gearbox as well. But the gearbox in general does a fantastic job, and even at lower speeds it works with that electric assistance. There's not even a rev counter in here. It doesn't even tell you what gear you're in. So you don't have to worry about that stuff. You just let the hybrid system do its thing. But what I can tell you is that I'm always at low RPM. I'm at 30 mile an hour right now. I've got enough shove to do an overtake if I need to, but I can barely hear the engine ticking over, and it doesn't really abruptly kick in when I put my foot down either. I can feel the hybrid working. Citroen really have cut corners in the right places here, and you'll notice I haven't really taken this out on a proper country road bash like I normally do in my reviews, and that is because that's just not what this is designed to do. This is designed to take the family and the pets out and about on the cheap with a decent warranty and just get the job done in a nice, comfortable and practical way. If you like hooning down B roads, get something else, but if you're just looking for a car to do this stuff in, this is a really good option, and I'm super impressed with Citroen and the ways they've innovated in ways that people want. It's not quite as smooth in these traffic situations as an MG HS, for example, though, or ZS. It really annoys me when I get in a 30 grand car nowadays and there's just cheap, squeaky plastic everywhere and everything feels rubbish. But in this, even though they've cut corners, it's just in the right places that you're not really going to notice, and it just provides a nice, easy experience to live with day to day. And that's what people want in this segment. Thank you guys so much for watching. Thank you to Citroen for sending me out the car. I really do appreciate it. It makes such a difference to the channel when you like, comment, subscribe, so all that good stuff, please. And if you are looking to purchase a car, all my affiliate links are in the description below. Make sure you do those checks and all that good stuff. Thank you guys so much for watching. I'll see you in the next one. Bye-bye.